If your goal is longevity, there's a good chance you're asking the wrong question. Most people ask, what is the best supplement? What is the best diet? What is the best exercise? But after more than 30 years working with the brain and body, I found that those aren't the question that determines how well you age. The real question is, how do all these pieces actually work together? Because today we're surrounded by advice, right? Eat this, avoid that, take these supplements, follow this protocol. And while much of that advice has value, it often misses the big picture. And when you miss the bigger picture, you can end up doing all the things right without getting the results that you're expecting. Because longevity isn't built on one thing, it's built on a system, and that's exactly what we're going to talk about today. Welcome, I'm Heike Fallon. I'm the founder of Expand Health and creator of the NeuroHP method, and I combine neuroscience, sports therapy, and personal performance coaching to help leaders, athletes, and active people like you optimize health and personal performance for longevity. Living longer with more fun, that's really what it's about. Over 30 years, I've studied the brain and body and their connection, and today I want to share how to actually make supplements work with the system. Before we go into it, make sure you grab my free PDF. It's in the description below there. And check it out. And let's go deeper. Because understanding this at a surface level won't change anything. You need to see how this works inside your body, inside your brain, every second of your day. Your brain is making predictions, not just about movement, not just about actually pain, but about energy, about recovery, about what your body is capable of right now. And those predictions are based on input: what you eat, how you move, how you sleep, what you feel, what environment signals to you. And here's the critical part. Your brain does not just ask, what did you take? It asks, does this make sense in the context of everything else? And that changes everything, because now supplements are not isolated tools. They are part of a conversation of your brain is having with your body. Let me give you a real life example, right? A client, high level executive, very disciplined, very structured. She was doing everything right. She ate well, very good diet, regular workouts, high quality supplements. She took magnesium, omega-3 and vitamin D, and still waking up in the middle of the night feeling tired in the afternoon. And her first thought was, okay, I need to do something more. I need more supplements, something maybe stronger. But that wasn't the issue. Her system never fully shifted out of activation. Her evenings were still high stimulation. Late work, screens, mental loads. Her brain never received a clear signal that it was safe to recover. So we didn't change her supplements, we changed her inputs. Light exposure in the morning, sleep timing, cognitive load, evening routine, and at the same time, the same supplements started actually working. Not because they changed, but because the system did. And that's the difference. That's the layer most people miss. Now, let's break it down even further, because this is one where science really matters. Your nervous system operates in states, right? Activation, recovery, balance. These are not just feelings. These are physiological states, so driven by your autonomic nervous system. So there's a sympathetic system, kind of your fight and flight or go mode, and your parasympathetic recover, rest, digest system. Both are needed. But if your system spends too much time in activation, your sympathetic tone constantly overly ramped high, your brain starts protecting, reducing output, limiting recovery, holding tension, even if you give it the right nutrients. So the supplementation without regulation creates a friction and no results. Now, with that knowledge, let's go into 5 supplements that I want to talk about today, and I want you to hear them differently as not to things to take, but as signals to your brain. You may not need all of them. So listen carefully. Magnesium is what we're going to start with. Magnesium is involved in hundreds of biochemical reactions through the body, through energy production, protein synthesis, muscle function, blood sugar regulation, nervous system regulation, and yet most people don't think about magnesium until they have trouble sleeping usually. But magnesium is much more than a sleep supplement. One of its most important roles is helping regulate activity within the nervous system. Your brain is constantly processing information. Every sound, every light, every thought, every sensation, every movement, all of that activity depends on neurons communicating with one another. And the challenge is that the brain doesn't just need the ability to activate, it also needs the ability to deactivate and to filter the noise, to reduce unnecessary activity, to transition from like that alertness to recovery. Magnesium helps support those processes. So this is one reason low magnesium status has been associated with greater stress sensitivity, poor sleep quality, muscle tension, fatigue. But here's an important distinction. Magnesium does not force your brain into a calm state. It supports the biological system involved in regulation. So think about it this way. If you drink coffee at 8 p.m., scrolling your phone until midnight, working late, worrying about tomorrow, and exposing yourself to constant stimulation, magnesium cannot overwrite those signals. So if you wonder why your magnesium didn't work, well, that might be it. Your brain is still receiving information that says, stay alert, stay prepared. And that's why magnesium works best as part of a broader recovery strategy. Consistent sleep schedule, reduced evening stimulation, regular movement, stress management, good nutrition. Magnesium does not create calm. It supports your brain's ability to access it, and that makes it different. The second one we're going to talk about is omega-3, and this is one of the supplements I consider foundational for brain health and longevity. Your brain is approximately 60% fat by dry weight, and one of the most important fats found in the brain is DHA, a type of omega-3 fatty acid, and DHA becomes part of a structure of brain cell membranes, and that matters because the membrane is where communication happens. Every thought, every memory, every movement, every decision depends on brain cells sending signals to one another. So it's all about on the cellular level. The quality of those membranes influence how efficiently those signals actually travel. Omega-3s help support membrane flexibility and function, which means communication can occur more effectively. And this is one reason omega-3s have been studied for their role in cognition, mood, brain aging, cardiovascular health, and inflammation. But there's also another longevity piece that often gets overlooked: chronic inflammation. Inflammation is a normal, necessary process actually. The problem begins when it becomes persistent. And when the body remains in the state of a low-grade inflammation for years, that can affect recovery, metabolic health, cardiovascular health, brain health, and ultimately longevity. Omega-3 helps support a healthier inflammatory balance, but again, no supplement can outwork a lifestyle that continues creating the problem. Poor sleep, high processed foods, chronic stress, physical inactivity, these are factors continue driving inflammatory load. So omega-3 should be viewed as support for the system, not a replacement for the whole system. Hope that makes sense. Here comes creatine. Big talk lately. I definitely find it very fascinating because most people, including me, for a long time misunderstood the supplement, right? We thought it's really about bodybuilding, right? Bodybuilders take creatine for muscle growth. or gym performance. But creatine is really about energy. And at a cellular level, your body stores energy in form of ATP, and ATP is immediate energy currency used by every cell in your body. And when ATP becomes depleted, performance drops, right? Performance drops physically, mentally, emotionally, and the role of creatine is to help regenerate ATP more efficiently. And in other words, it helps restore your energy availability inside the cells. So that's the most easiest way to think about it. And that matters because your brain is incredibly energy hungry. Although it makes up only a small percentage of your body weight, it consumes a disproportionate amount of your energy resources. Think about cost energy. Decision making costs energy, focus costs energy, emotional regulation costs energy, stress management costs energy. So when cellular energy availability improves, many people experience greater cognitive resilience, less mental fatigue, better performance under stress, and greater capacity throughout the day. And this becomes especially relevant as we age, because maintaining efficient energy production is critical for both your health span and your performance. And this leads to one of my favorite ways to describe creatine. Creatine doesn't give you energy, it increases your capacity to use energy. So again, you got to do all the other things too as well. Next one, vitamin D. Vitamin D is unique because it behaves more like a hormone than a traditional vitamin. Vitamin D receptors are found throughout the body, in the brain, the immune system, your muscle tissue, your bone tissue, and many other organs. And which means vitamin D influences a wide range of physiological function, immune regulation, muscle function, mood, bone health, and overall resilience. One challenge today is that many people spend significantly time indoors and not outdoors compared to previous generation. Less sunlight exposure means less opportunity for the body to produce vitamin D naturally. As a result, deficiency and inefficiency have become increasingly common. And when vitamin D levels are low, the body is essentially operating with an incomplete information. The system can still function, but often less efficiently. And I have to say vitamin D had changed quite a bit in my life due to some low-level inflammation. And so this is why I encourage people also thinking about vitamin D as a foundational health marker, not as a performance, as a goal is not to optimize, the goal is to normalize. Mine was very low, so I need to first get to a normalized level, which is always a question, what is normalized? You do have to also assess it individually. Vitamin D supplements often are about correcting deficiency and not to create a shortcut, but many people need it, and I highly recommend also always test it what your levels are. Finally, let's talk about protein. And honestly, if someone asked me where to focus on first before supplements, I would look at protein intake, because protein is not just about muscle. Protein provides amino acids. Those amino acids are used to build and repair tissue throughout the body, and they are also involved in neurotransmitter production, immune function, recovery, hormone production, and muscle maintenance. And from a longevity perspective, maintaining muscle mass becomes increasingly important with age. So muscle is not simply something that helps you look and fit. Muscle is metabolically active tissue, and it influences your blood sugar regulation, your movement capacity, that's what most people know, but also your balance, your strengths, your independence, and overall resilience. And in fact, one of the strongest predictors of healthy aging is maintaining muscle and strength over time. This is why I often see people focusing heavily on supplements while under-consuming protein. So here, they're trying to optimize the top of the pyramid while really neglecting the foundation. And no supplement stack can fully compensate for that mismatch. Food first. Get your protein from food. Get all the other things from food first. Foundation first, and then use supplementation strategically to fill the gaps. And now let's zoom out a little bit, because this is the most important part. Supplements work best in alignment, not isolation. Your brain is constantly looking for pattern, consistency, predictability. And when it finds that, it allows performance. And when it doesn't, it protects it. So your goal is not more. Your goal is better. Better inputs, better timing, better alignment. So longevity is not built on what you add. It's built on what your system can sustain. Let me give you one other example. A client, mid-50s, active, playing pickleball multiple times a week, taking supplements, still feeling kind of slower, the recovery taking longer. The assumption is like, oh, I'm kind of starting to age. But the real issue, inconsistent input. The sleep varied, nutrition is inconsistent, hydration is low. And once we stabilize those layers, performance improves, recovery improved. Some supplements, different system, and that's the shift. So now this is where your identity comes in, because this is not just about what you do, it's about how you think. And if you see yourself as someone who needs to, fix things, you will keep searching. And if you see yourself as someone who builds a system, you start creating stability. Stability is what your brain trusts. And what your brain trusts, it allows, right? The more the brain trusts everything, it allows you to do more. So if you take one thing away from this, let it be this. Supplements matter, but only in the context of your system. Diet, habits, environment, recovery, all of it working together, okay? Don't underestimate that. If you like this video, please share it with anyone that you think can benefit from this. And I upload a new video, brain-based new video every week. So subscribe to my channel so you don't miss it. Start investing in yourself. You deserve it. I'm Heike Fallon. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next episode.